Hello and welcome to this special edition of Uncorked with Funny Wine Girl. This is Funny Wine Girl, Janine Luby. And this is a special episode. I am publishing it on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, because I wanted to focus on gratitude. And I thought the timing was appropriate. And I know how busy everyone is on Thanksgiving Day. So I thought I'd air it the day before in case people can listen while they're out there in traffic, getting the last of the stuffing recipe, or maybe at home cooking, preparing something the night before Thanksgiving, the morning of Thanksgiving. You decide how you listen, as long as you listen and share and tell a friend who might be grateful for the recommendation of a podcast that is not about murder and true crime. Shocking, I know. Anyway, so I wanted to share this because this is actually going to be the last of season 2. And I'll be honest, I just started my podcast in May, so I have no idea how many episodes should be in a season, how that quote unquote should work. I'm just doing my own thing. And I had featured a bunch of fabulous women in September who were in their 50s because I turned 50. And then I had some awesome guests during October. My great friends shared their coming out stories. I talked to some folks who are fans of Scranton, as I am, a city councilwoman, Tim Holmes, who is responsible for the office convention. A lot of great episodes. I hope you'll go back and take a listen, excuse me, to some of them. And I'm going to use December. I might throw in an episode, a special episode, but I'm probably going to be focusing on the next season for January, starting in January 2022. A lot of exciting things are planned. Of course, I'll be focusing on different things for wellness, for self-care, and just a lot of different people that I didn't get to talk to yet that I'm super excited to talk to so that they can share their stories with you. So today I do want to focus on gratitude, and I had put a call out, so to speak, a call like the bat signal, but this was like a gratitude signal. I was hoping people would share with me reasons that they are grateful right now. And I had posted on Facebook and an Instagram, and there are some barriers to getting responses. First of all, we are inundated with noise, right? There are so many people out there on social media with so much to say. It can be difficult to be heard. So sometimes, let's face it, it's all about algorithms. So I don't get as much attention as a picture of a cat or a dog or a baby. So it's difficult sometimes for people to even see what I post. And then you have the barrier of people are busy, people get distracted, and they might have seen it and said, oh yeah, I'll message her or I'll post something about what I'm grateful for. And then they saw a picture of a cat or a dog, and that was the end of that. Who knows what the reason is? And it's okay. It's fine. I know that you are grateful, and it's just, I would love, excuse me, and pardon me for the clearing of my throat. I don't yet know how to edit very well. So I'm just doing this without editing out my annoying clearing of my throat because I've been dealing with seasonal allergies or sinus issues for the past couple of months. Don't know what's going on. But anyway, I do apologize. So I know you're grateful, like I said, but I'd love to share in this episode today, I'm going to share from my gratitude journals, but I would love to share from other people. I think it is so important. And I made a little crack or a little joke earlier about this is not a true crime podcast. I know that they're very popular, and I want to be careful. I don't want to be bashing the country or people or whatever, but people tend to do what other people are doing, right? Right now, true crime podcasts are very hot. And who knows, maybe they've been hot for a couple of years and we're on the downslope. I don't know. But a lot of people like to hop on bandwagons because, you hear about them all the time. So it's easier. So I would challenge you to explore and find out things that aren't right in front of your face, right? Things that aren't being promoted so much. Yes, there's tons of true crime podcasts out there. And I will admit, I watch a ton of crime stories. Some of them the real ones, and some are fictional on Netflix. And why are we obsessed with crime? I don't know. But my point that I'd like to get to is let's listen to other things in life. Let's listen to positive things, because the truth is, and research will back me up on this, the more that we watch serious movies, the more that we watch murder mysteries or listen to that kind of thing, That's not going to have a real positive effect on us. And it is fine for entertainment. I mean, like I said, I do it too, but let's make sure that we're also getting, just like with our diet, what's on our plate. Let's make sure we're getting something positive and healthy so that that helps us to pay it forward so that we can smile and spread a positive attitude. So that's why I would love for you guys to share what you're grateful for. And even if you haven't shared with me, share it on your Facebook page, and not just the usual, but what are you grateful for? And it could be the most minute detail that you tried a new coffee shop and they got your latte just right. It's not petty. It's okay to enjoy little things in life because, quite frankly, that is what life is made up of, a bunch of little things. So I am going to share. Two people did share with me what they are grateful for this year. The first one, I'm kind of embarrassed because my good friend Oliver, and you've heard from him a couple times on my podcast. I love him to death. We've been friends since we were 14 and freshmen at Bishop Hannon High School in Scranton. He has recently moved to North Carolina, and I cannot wait to go there visiting him. I believe I'm going to go in May, but I have to see, and we have to talk. I cannot wait to see him and his husband and stay there with them for about a week or maybe a month. Who knows? Oliver, I'm coming. Um, anyway, he shared with me that he was grateful, of course, for his husband, Jim, his son, Lucas, his family, and he was grateful for me, all the laughs we share, and for this podcast. So I'm a little embarrassed to do a little self plug. He did send that to me via text and said, you can share that. So I am going to do that, even though, like I said, I'm a little embarrassed to do so because I don't want to just self promote. Heavens, no, we wouldn't want to do that. And then I also want to share from another woman, and she did post it publicly, so I'm sure she probably wouldn't mind me saying her name, but sometimes people get a little, I don't want to say squeamish about sharing their name, so I'll just give her first name, Kim. Kim shared what she is grateful for, so I'm going to read it verbatim so I don't mess it up. She posted this on my Facebook page. She says, I am grateful for my never-ending curiosity to always see with a beginner mind, comma, the animal kingdom who brings healing to humans, comma, that my son is coming back to this empty nest, for Thanksgiving. So thank you for sharing, Oliver. Thank you for sharing, Kim. I really do appreciate that. And like I said, I know that you're all busy. I know that you're all grateful. Just take a minute or two to share with other people, because maybe they've been too caught up to realize that they really do have some good things to be grateful for, or maybe they are having just a really rough year and this year they're not feeling gratitude. But by seeing what you're saying, it reminds them of the goodness that is out there. So before I get to my gratitude journal, I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of gratitude. I took a course online, and I'll be honest, I'm not 100% certain if it's still available, but if the course itself is not available through Coursera, you can absolutely check out the website for the Positive Psychology Center at UPenn, the University of Pennsylvania. In 2018, I think it was in January, I took the course through Coursera, and it was a positive psychology course. And as I said, if the course through Coursera is not there, please just Google and look up Positive Psychology Center through the University of Pennsylvania, and you will find resources. You will find, articles, connections to other great websites. Dr. Marty Seligman is known as a pioneer in this field of positive psychology. And when I took the course, we talked we talked about a lot of great, interesting things. And I shouldn't say talk really, because it was really a self-directed course online. And I read articles, I watched videos that were taped by Dr. Seligman, by a Dr. Angela Duckworth, a number of doctors that I cannot honestly name all of them for you. I do have them in notes that I took. And if you do listen to this podcast from time to time, you'll know that I do share my flaws. One of my flaws is lack of consistency, and I'm a procrastinator as well. And I'm also not super organized. So I do have my notes. I took a lot of notes by hand, and I have a myriad of notebooks, throughout the household. So I do need to find them someday and type them all in. And I do have some typed things that I will share with you. But my point is, overall, it was a fantastic course. And we talked about, again, I keep saying talked about, what the professors spoke about that I got to watch on video and read from their research is a variety of topics: resilience, sharing positivity, having a sense of awe and wonder. Like if you do follow my posts on social media, Funny Wine Girl on Instagram, Funny Wine Girl Janine on Facebook, or just me, Janine Luby on Facebook, I do post a lot of pictures of nature because I wasn't an outdoor person when I was a kid, and it's probably started over maybe the last 15 years that I've really become into nature, kayaking, hiking, trail running, my running outside on pavement, anything to do with the outdoors, sunsets, foliage, beautiful architecture, trees, you name it. I have just become a big fan because it does wonders for my soul. But things of awe, part of the research I do remember them talking about was astronauts, how, excuse me, when they were up in space and they looked down at the earth, they had such a sense of wonder and awe, just like, wow, overwhelmed. And the importance of that, I feel that every time I see a beautiful sunset, I really do. And I said, I don't look forward to the day, and I hope it never happens, that I look at that and I'm not impressed, because I am still impressed every time I see gorgeous purples and pinks and different hues. And I literally will say, oh my gosh, look at that. Or wow, I've pulled off the side of the road so I can get out and take a picture. I've taken a picture through my window. I love and admire, and just I am in awe of the beautiful sunsets. And notice I say sunsets, not sunrises, because I am not a morning person, even though I have enjoyed some beautiful sunrises. I am more of a sunset person. And the research just says, though, that having this sense of awe, like, wow, is very healthy for us. It lets us know that there's something greater, or I shouldn't say greater, maybe that's not the right word, but bigger than ourselves, and that we're part of something bigger. And it's just healthy to have that admiration, that appreciation, that wonder of, oh my gosh, look at that. That is amazing. So that's part of the research. But the other part that they spend time on was gratitude, and how healthy gratitude can be for us as well. It just shows in the research that when we feel grateful or thankful for what we have, we do feel better. We're just healthier of our mind and our body and our spirit. And as you can imagine, just imagine a day when you think everything is going wrong. Your mood is probably not good. Now imagine a day when you wake up and you're like, oh, wow, I'm so glad the sun is out because, I have a lot planned outdoors today. Okay, boom, gratitude. You're in a better mood. It really is true. So over the course of the next few minutes, I don't want to talk too long because I know I have a tendency to do that. I just wanted to share a couple things from my gratitude journal that I had written about. Maybe they'll inspire you to start your own gratitude journal. Maybe they'll remind you of something that you forgot about, that you can smile about, that can make you feel good. Another thing that is taught in the psychology course is this thing called savoring, that we need to learn to savor. And there are two kind of takes on that, I believe. Savoring as in being in the moment. So if you're the type of person who's not usually in the moment, try to practice more of that. So when you are out for a run, or you are out in the Target parking lot and you're packing your car up with stuff and you look up and you go, oh, the sunset's pretty. Don't just say that, like actually stop and go, wow, look at that sunset. Take a picture and then look at it a week from now when you're feeling crappy, like, wow, that was a gorgeous sunset. That made me happy. So savoring is about being in the moment, but it's also about going back and looking at, let's say, photos that you took from a beautiful trip, a vacation, like from 3 years ago when the whole family was all together. Now, some might say looking at photos might make them sad if something has changed in the family dynamics or whatever. But the idea of savoring is really meant to make us happy. So if you had a really good time on that family trip, you look at a picture of you all, hanging out on the boardwalk, or all of you just laying on the beach or playing and splashing in the ocean. And that brings back good memories. That's important. That's good to savor. Again, research shows that this is good for our brain, for our health. It just, I don't know the specifics as far as what the neurons that, that fire through our brain and different feelings and oxytocin and all those different terms. I'm not going to tell you all of those. I probably wrote them down, but the bottom line is it's good for us. It makes us feel good, and it's healthy for us as well. So when I was taking the course in 2018, they taught us about gratitude practices, and they did give us homework. They gave us little assignments, which is good because it's great to learn something, to read about it, to watch a video. But if we don't do anything else, we don't put it into practice, it's not going to get ingrained in us. And there is research that shows if we take notes by hand and we write them, it actually gets into our psyche, into our brain better than if we're typing them. And I am someone, if you do know this, and if you don't, I'll share this. I've done stand-up comedy. I don't do it nearly as much as I'd like to anymore. If I'm lucky to do it once, twice, 3 times a year, but I always write. And I write notes too, ideas for my business and my stand-up comedy. I write them by hand. Yes, of course, I have the computer and I could type things later for my notes. But when you write by hand, there's just, I don't know, there's a more intimate connection and it gets inside your brain more. So it's important to put into practice what you watch on a video or what you learn. And taking handwritten notes does help. So if you do have children who are in high school or college and they're taking notes on their laptop, I would recommend they try to do it by hand, even if they print, although I know that's kind of like a foreign concept anymore. But when you write something, there's just a better connection with you learning from it. So one of the things they had us do was a gratitude practice in this psychology course, this positive psychology course. The first practice I have written down here, and again, I'm just reading, I opened up my files from April of 2018, and I'm looking at them now. So there might be a missing link. I'm not sure, but I wrote down here my gratitude practices. And I had written, I am already doing some things that help me to incorporate gratitude into my daily life, but I believe I could do them more consistently. Oh, see, there's that word again. I'm not very good at consistency. And I can deepen the practice a bit to feel more positive impact from them. Okay, so the first one was practice number 1. Picture this. One of the women in the videos I watched says she takes pictures when she's walking through Philadelphia because later she can look at the pictures of the beautiful historic buildings. And I guess the exercise was probably to write what I do in my life, like what the participants, as participants of the course, what do we do to practice gratitude? And I said, I do something similar now when I run, or if I'm out for a walk. I'm not a real competitive runner. And I have no problem stopping in the middle of a run. I'm not someone who's like, oh no, I'm going to mess up my time or my distance or my heart rate. I am not a very competitive athlete because I'm just not. I probably could be a little bit more so, but let's face it, my body type isn't, built for it. And I'm probably not as disciplined as I could be. And I certainly don't eat properly. And I drink wine. So more than I should probably. So that impacts me. But so my point being is I feel free to stop when I'm running, to just go, wow, I'm going to take a picture of that graffiti or that mural on a wall. I've done that in downtown Scranton. I'm like, oh my gosh, when did this mural go up? I'll stop, I'll take pictures. And then I can go back and look at them. And oh, by the way, here's where our gratitude can spread. Post that picture. As I mentioned earlier, I post a lot of nature pictures. Post that picture for someone else to see. Maybe they don't live in Scranton and they appreciate murals, art murals, and they'll see it and they'll go, wow, that's really pretty. Or maybe it will give them an idea for the city they live in. Maybe they're an art teacher, or maybe they're just involved in city council and they could say, wow, we need more art on our city buildings. So think of the impact that you can have on other people with your gratitude. You feel good, share it with other people. So that was part of the exercise that I shared, that's something I was doing. And then practice number 2 was the gratitude journal. And I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have heard of this because this is not a new concept. Some people call it, I think I've heard it called like something to do with your blessings. I mean, it depends on, your verbiage. you're like, I forget, there's other people call it by a different name, but gratitude journal is what you hear most often. You write what you're grateful for, what your blessings are, that sort of thing. And I've read it where some people will do it in the morning, and I did mine in the evening because I wanted to list the things that happened that day that I was grateful for. For me in the morning, I don't know. Some people do it in the morning, but for me, it was something I did at night before I went to bed. I will tell you, sometimes I was like, oh, I'm too tired. So I was okay, here's the key. Inconsistent. I would start a gratitude journal and do it for a week or two, and then I would stop. That is true. But in the spring of 2018, this course is what really inspired me to start writing a gratitude journal. So what did I write about it back then? I wrote, since I began taking this course, I have been doing a nightly journal of 3 things that went well throughout my day, as recommended in Dr. Seligman's course. On occasion, I feel too tired to write something or to write something meaningful, so I'll scribble something basic down. Other evenings, I feel like this is an obligation that I quote unquote have to do. I don't want to feel that way. And I don't think anyone really should, because that's not the point. You shouldn't feel, oh, I have to write something down that I'm grateful for. It shouldn't be that kind of practice. So it's okay. It's okay if you take a night off or if you forget. When I forget, sometimes when I was trying to be trying to be more consistent, and I would forget, the next morning I would say, you know what? I forgot to write this down. I'm going to write it down before I forget, because things did happen yesterday that I really appreciated. So again, you do you. None of us are perfect, and we don't have to be. Let's see what else I wrote. I think I'm going to continue this practice, I wrote, but tweak it a bit so that it serves me better. I think I'm going to jot down some things during the day when they pop into my head. Now, I don't think I did that too long, but it was a good idea so I wouldn't forget. And then I wrote, here is one example. Yesterday, I had a problem with the audio driver in my laptop after updating Windows. And I normally curse and scream when technology frustrates me. And then when I calm down, I either ask someone for help, or I may try something myself, or procrastinate and hope it works out later. But yesterday, I cursed for a short period of time. And rather than procrastinate or ask someone, I did troubleshooting on my own and installed something to fix the problem. As soon as the volume and speakers, excuse me, on my laptop worked again, I thought to myself, now this is something to include tonight in my 3 things that went well, because the problem is fixed and I did it myself. If I write things down as they happen throughout the day, then at night I won't feel obligated to come up with something, or I won't take away from the experience by writing just for the sake of writing when I'm actually too tired to put in enough effort. So that is something that I had written when I was taking the course. And then I did write, the second thing I want to change or add to this practice is to start reading some of my entries in the morning, whether they are from the previous evening or from weeks prior. That will help me to start my day with positive thoughts from good things that have happened in my own life. I believe it will help me get my day started on the right foot. And I will admit, I probably tried to put that into practice back in 2018. I have not lately, but I do still believe in the value of it. Whether it's in the morning, or it's basically you do you, and use it when you need it, right? So if you're having a bad day, and whether it's work or personal or whatever it is, and you're at home and you have 10 minutes and you think to yourself, I need a pick me up. I need something that will cheer me up. Go, if you have a gratitude journal, go pick it up. Just start looking through it. I guarantee you, when you start reading some of the things that you were grateful for, that you're going to smile and feel better. Okay, so let's see. What's the other thing I wanted to share here? Oh yes. Okay. So this was another exercise about gratitude, and it was called Hunt for Gratitude exercise. Again, I don't want to tell you the exact instructions because I don't remember, but clearly it was something that we were supposed to try our best to find, hunt for the good stuff. hunt for the good stuff in your day. So if it's not right obvious for you, just really think about what happened in your day and try to hunt for the good stuff. So this is what I had shared. Again, this was back in April 2018. I wrote, I'm a part-time faculty member at a local college where I teach in the mass communications department. Now, I taught part-time at King's College for 7 years. Last fall in 2020 was my last semester. I finished last December. So it's not quite a year that I've been finished. Honestly, it is not for me. I enjoy being part of education, but I like writing behind the scenes. I like working with different groups of students who are really motivated and maybe perhaps farther along in their education. But teaching in a classroom is not really my thing. And I did feel frustrated many times. In any case, I'm going to get back to what I had written then. So I wrote about being a part-time faculty member. And I said in my writing from 2018, I wrote, I often feel like a stereotypical character who talks about how things used to be in my day, quote unquote, because I often do not relate to the college students of today. I often gripe about their work ethic or lack thereof and their unwillingness to take accountability. In fact, I commiserate with some other people who are also professors. So let's see. So I feel that my thought today turned a negative into a positive that went well. And so here's what I went on to say that happened that day at school when I was teaching. Today, my students gave informative speeches. So I taught effective oral communications, and that is what this is from that I'm referencing. One student seemed a bit quiet in the beginning of the semester, and one day I called on her, even though her hand was not up. I said to her, I surprised you, didn't I? She smiled and answered my question. I'm glad I did that because ever since then, she has been participating more in class. She also puts a great amount of effort into her speeches. As I watched her deliver her speech today about eating disorders and body image disorders, I thought of how open she was being. She shared her own experience with an eating disorder. And this is not the first time in a speech that she has let herself be vulnerable. She shares in each and every speech. I realize today how brave she is to do that. I'm going to share that comment with her when I send her back her grade on this speech. I was very impressed by her and glad that I realized that today about her. So I will say that in the 7 years that I did teach, I had many moments like that where there was something that I was very happy and grateful about in teaching. But again, for my own personal reasons, it's not something that I wanted to continue. So I did end teaching last year. I won't go off on a rant, but educators typically are not paid very well. And I don't want to go too far on that, but there's expectations in this field that would never be expected from, let's say, engineers, IT folks, people who fix air conditioning, tree cutters. They get paid for their time. But in education, you're expected to donate your time when you're prepping your class if you're part-time, and different things that just aren't really fair. And they wear on you after a while. And I'm also perhaps not, I'm just not interested in being like a second mother or a social worker. Those are not really where my strengths shine, and I can help people in other ways. So I am not, like I said, no longer teaching in college. But there were absolutely moments that were very bright, and there were many students who brought me joy, for whom I was grateful. And that was a moment. And as I'm talking, I do remember that girl. I can see her face. I can see her long hair. And she, when I called on her and she didn't have her hand up, sometimes that would backfire. But with her, it worked, because after that, she really did raise her hand in class a lot, and she tried really hard. And I was grateful for her efforts. So I wanted to share that. Now I just want to share a couple little short things that I wrote in my journal. The example I had just given was actually, like I said, an exercise that was part of my positive psychology course through Coursera in 2018. So these are some of my entries in 2020. And then I think I have some in 2021. So let's see here. So this one is from January 15th, 2020. So before the world of the pandemic. I wrote, I'm grateful for having the ability and opportunity to go for a run with Karen today. Karen's a good friend of mine from my days at Blue Cross and at King's College, where she is a full-time professor. Even though I was tired and hungover, I had wine at the folks' house. Yes, I drink with my parents. I don't go out crazy. I put in the effort to run and keep running, even though I wanted to walk at times. I'm grateful for opportunities to be a better person. I became very frustrated tonight reading an email from a student. See, here's where the frustration comes in. Signing up for my class late. He is missing 3 or 4 classes. I think this is ridiculous, and I get all worked up. I have to learn to calm down and increase my EQ, emotional quotient. These students are not my problem. My response to challenging, frustrating situations is the problem. Maybe God or the universe gives me these situations so I can keep working on myself. So that was kind of a grateful, but also reflective, something I needed to work on. And that did happen quite a bit. And I will say, my frustration often wasn't just with the students, but what colleges allow to happen these days, that I don't really think is healthy for students, but colleges are a business and they need students, whether the students really belong in college, whether it's the best fit, whether they're doing well or not, whether they're mature enough or not. They're allowed to miss several classes, to do things that may not be in their best interest, because the bottom line is college is a business and they need bodies and they need checks. And that is true. And grades are being inflated in order to keep students there in many cases. So that was part of my frustration, but let's fast forward. So these are from January 2020, and then let's jump ahead. Let's see. So, okay. So we've got that. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. That must have been, okay. So let's jump to November 4th, 2021. Oh, that's just recently, right? November 4th. I've started numerous gratitude journals in a variety of books. I guess it doesn't matter so much, so long as I still have a sense of gratitude and reasons I can recognize that. And I do. I enjoyed the beauty of the park in Peckville today, specifically the leaves and the river flowing under the bridge. I enjoyed the sun. My writing is not good, so sometimes I can't read it. I enjoyed the sun as I ran, and I was proud of myself for not giving up and for actually pushing a bit more to get 4 miles instead of 3. I am also grateful that Nikki Stone called to have me on the radio in the morning to talk about the value of laughter to lift us as we enter a darker period of this year. So this one was just from a couple weeks ago. Nikki Stone, who is on WILK and has a radio show, has been very good to me, often reaching out to have me as a guest on her show. And I've been able to share the value of laughter. And that particular Friday was a couple days before we turned the clocks back. And I was going to lead laughter yoga on Facebook, on my Laugh to Live Facebook page. So she allowed me the opportunity to talk about that on the air. So that was something. I am going to jump around here because, again, do you see a pattern here? So that was out of one notebook. And I went from January to 2020 to November 2021. Now I have another notebook. And this one is from when? I'm not consistent. So some of them I don't have the year. So this must be 2021. Let's see here. I will just pick a couple more because I don't want to bore you. I just want to give you an idea for yourselves if you ever want to start this. Let's see here. Okay, so here's March 23rd. I did not put the year, but I believe it was 2021. Another gorgeous day in NEPA. I had a nice run and a walk and chat with Kristen. So, okay, a couple themes you might notice here. Obviously, exercise and nature outdoors are huge reasons for me to be grateful. That is something that is consistent in my life, and friendship. So I must have walked with Kristen that day. So we had a nice socialization is important. So talking to friends is important. My second thing for that day, had a really good meeting with Marie about marketing. She seems to really be focusing on marketing, and getting inspired and creative with ideas. She's thinking in terms of continuity and wanting to storytell. Knowing that I help to inspire her, her thinking makes me feel proud and competent. So here's an opportunity for me also to give a plug. Last year, I was able to, in 2021, in, I guess, gosh, was it maybe January, we started working together, and we worked together through almost April. Marie, who is the executive director at the local chapter, here in Scranton, Northeast PA, of NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, she received a grant through the Scranton Area Foundation for executives in residence, they call it. So she basically received a grant that she was able to use for help with marketing. And she was able to hire me as a marketing consultant. So that note was, I was grateful for the meeting that we had and for her enthusiasm that I think I helped to spark and inspire. And that made me feel proud and really happy. And then the third thing for that day, I was able to enjoy time on I think that says the deck with Kristen. Birds were chirping. Glad my happy place is open for the season. So that was back in March. We must have had some really nice weather. The deck that my really good special friend Robert made for me during the pandemic in 2020, it is my happy place. And it is a place that much gratitude springs from. I sit there in the morning with coffee. I sit there in the evening with a glass of wine, and I've enjoyed many beautiful sunsets and many wonderful mornings with quiet in the neighborhood. Excuse me, before the dogs start barking, before the neighbor's dirt bike starts revving up, and just watching the cardinals, blue jays, the tufted titmouse, the little chickadees, all the beautiful visitors that I have to my bird feeder. So I won't continue. I won't go on because I feel like I've probably talked long enough, but I hope that I was able to inspire a little bit, of something in you as far as gratitude goes. Not to be preachy, not to be, lecturing or anything. We tend to forget sometimes because we are so caught up in our day. And if we do pay attention to the news and social media posts, there is a lot of negativity. And it's important that we remember that there is positivity out there. And the more it will grow is if we keep contributing to it and putting it out there. So, as I said, I'm aware of my flaws. And like I said, consistency is often not a strong suit of mine. But through the years, especially since I took the course in 2018, I've started gratitude journals and stopped. But the idea is that it's a practice. It's a practice for you so that you can think about what you're grateful for. You can write it down. And then on the days that maybe you're not feeling so happy or grateful, you can look and read through it and take time to savor and go, okay, I do have things that I can be grateful for. So while I don't continue to write in a journal, I would like to believe that my consistency, even though I'm not really great at consistency, as I said, my consistency of appreciating life is there, even though I'm not writing it down every day, because I would say in a way, my pictures have almost become somewhat of a gratitude journal. I at least twice, 3 times a week, if I go for a walk with a friend or a run, I'm usually taking several photos during my walk or my run. Recently with my friend Cheryl, we were at the state park, Lackawanna State Park. Beautiful pictures as the sun was going down. Foliage that is still up, fall foliage that is still around here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Downtown Scranton now has several beautiful murals on the side of buildings that you can check out. There's always something, architecture in downtown Scranton. There is always something to see. The Lackawanna Heritage Trail runs, you can run along by the river. It's beautiful. There are so many things to see. In fact, I ran a race there yesterday. It was Stamp Out Soldier Suicide. And as we were running, we looked up, and actually there was an eagle above our heads. And in Peckville there, it's known by many people locally that there is often an eagle there that visits a tree, might have a nest. I don't know if that's the correct word, but yesterday there was an eagle above, and that was pretty cool. That was actually quite cool. Now, did I write it down last night? No, but I do know what I was grateful for yesterday. Seeing that eagle, being healthy enough to run in this race, and being proud of myself that I actually received an award. I joke that I get awards only at small races, and that's okay. I don't need to tell people that. I know people keep telling me, you don't need to say that, but I'm just being honest because I feel kind of almost embarrassed. Like, okay, I got second place in my age group, but admittedly, if there were more people there in my age group, I wouldn't have gotten it because I'm not a real fast runner. But I was grateful and proud to receive the medal. And so those are just a couple of reasons. Last night I went out to dinner and wine with my friend Kristen and Cindy, and we had fun conversation, laughs, good wine at Malatesi Winery in Scott Township here in Pennsylvania. So again, whether you write it down, I think the writing it down is helpful because then you have something that you can look back on, and the practice of writing it might help you. But as long as you feel the gratitude, as long as you're taking time in your day to savor the moments with people, with nature, with whatever it is that connects to your soul and makes you feel good, that is what's important. So thank you for listening. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. And please check out other episodes of Uncorked with Funny Wine Girl. I will be looking forward to 2022 with a whole bunch of new guests and episodes to share with you and their wonderful lives and stories and tips that I hope you'll be entertained by and learn from. And in the meantime, like I said, go back and listen to some episodes that I hope you'll enjoy. Uncork some gratitude, feel good, and just have a wonderful day.